All right,
Okay.
as we continue, this is going to be an upful reasoning. Brother Seifa Sellassie will be guiding us through the zodiac with understanding of Ethiopian history. Yes, my good brother, Rasta Roundtable.
Yes, give thanks, beloved. Firstly, I would like to say this information is exclusive to the Priest Isaac Institute of Holistic Knowledge, and it is not taught to me by anybody other than following the teachings of Kadamawi Haile Selassie. And any slides are copyright to myself, Seifa Sellassie, to be published under the Bible Society of His Imperial Majesty and the Lion of Judah Society. Yes, give thanks. So quickly, I'm going to try and go as fast as I can through this. Now, this is the zodiac. We're dealing with age science, and we're dealing with the great year of 26,000 years. So what we need to find out is where year zero would be, and where it would go around a complete cycle and then come back to year zero. In that process, it takes 26,000 years of the great year. Now, to begin, so if we can imagine at the top of here, we see Neith, Virgo, and Hamarthu, Libra, and at the bottom we see Amen, Aries, and Horus, Pisces. So going through there, through the center there, you would see, you could imagine this as it's only two-dimensional. We could imagine that this is the pole of the Earth going through here, from north to south. But also in the center, now if we could imagine, this is actually where the pole is. The pole is in the center where I'm putting the cursor now. So when we look through here, if we was to say that year zero, 26,000 years, is at the bottom where I have in the south, and then we was to say we want to go to the north to turn it around, we would have, if we go one cycle round, it would only give, that would be 26,000 years. We could only get back to where we began. So we would need to go another half a cycle to get to the other top. So now we've got 39,000 years because we've got half again. We've got 26,000 and half of 26,000 is 13,000. It gives us 39,000 years if we want to transfer from one pole to the other. Why I say that, I'm just giving this as a foundation, because what we're dealing with here in the age science is that there's a Sothic cycle or Sothist cycle, which is every 1461 years. The 1461 years is important because what that is that between the 20th and the 25th of July in 139 AD, they were certain that a heliacal rising occurred at that time. And when I first came on the program, I gave a reference of David Roll, The Test of Time, page 130, where he said on that book that is the foundation of Western dating. All dating is anchored to that date. So then from 139, they're able to measure 1461 years, which would then take them to 1320 BC, which was the next Sirius heliacal rising. And then the following one after that is 2781 BC, 1460 years further on. So it steps in increments all the way around this clock. It steps in increments all the way around this clock of 1461 years. So you can see that I hope this is big enough that you can see that where you've got 139, then there was one at 1320, and then there would be one at 2421, then there would be one going right the way around until it reaches, it would go right the way around in each let me get this out of the way. In each one, you see SHR, which I have here, Sirius heliacal rising, 10,081 BC. And then I have one in Virgo, it was 11,541 BC. And then in Libra, it was 14,461 BC. But you see, what I have here, you can see in each one, I have two different, some of them have two different heliacal risings, because there is a male heliacal rising and there's a female heliacal rising, and they occur at different times. But you can see, but sometimes in some of the ages, you see, like in, say, Num Capricorn, where I am, there's two heliacal risings within that 2,160 years. Now, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how it is 2,160 years. You've got 26,000 years divided by 12. So 12 into 2,160 actually gives us 2,166.6666 years. 2,166 years for the length of an age. Now, so the measurements that I've used here is the 2,166 year measure. Now, normally in the scientific world, they say that an age is 2,160 years. Those 6 years are not counted. But if we count 12 times 6 years, those extra 6 years, we've got 72 years. 72 years is 1 degree of movement of the zodiac. The reason it's 1 degree of movement of the zodiac is because you've got 26,000 divided by 360, which gives you 72.2. So each degree of movement takes 72 years in this world clock, but it's a clock. It works. This is exactly how it works, like a clock, and it's got 4 wheels. It's got a wheel going in reverse, a 26,000 wheel going in reverse, which is called the precessional wheel. And then you've got a wheel going in the forward direction, which is the Trinity wheel, which is the solar wheel. The solar wheel is also, it measures, if you can imagine now that with one wheel going in reverse and one wheel going forward, you now have a magnetic field being produced. You have friction. If you can imagine this working, you've got one going forward and one going backwards, and the volume in between it would then give you a magnetic field. So that magnetic field is measurable, and they are guided by the Sirius star. You have one Sirius star that works in the female category, and you have one Sothis star going in the male category. Now, the male is the sun, and the female is the moon. The lunar measurements, and the lunar measurements is to do with the precession, because the precession is to do with the mother, and the progression is to do with the father. So I'm going to bring now this table here. This table is exactly I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. This table here is exactly what I've spoken about there. This is working in conjunction with this zodiac. So what we have here, we have the table of Sirius water stations. I call them water stations because it's to do with the flood of all of these things. The Nun, when the earth began, they describe it as a watery void, and then through the water is where everything happens. This is why we have baptism and all these things, because it's through the water. So now, if you see on the left-hand side, we have the male Sirius star movements. Now, where they all come is you see I'm starting at 1321 here. It says 1315 plus 6. The 6 plus 6 is the equal, that is the celestial measure, what we see in the terrestrial calendar, the Pagami, the month of Pagami, the 5 and 6 days extra at the beginning of the year. This year is brought into the celestial realm. So we're using the same principle, because it's just orders of magnitude. So there we see we see the date 1315 plus 6 gives us 1321. Where we see now on the male one, we see 1320 plus 1 gives us the same 1321. We're in the same region because that region there of the pole star of 1320, 1321 is the crucial, the most important part of the whole zodiacal belt. That particular one there, because as I'll go on to show you, and I'll show you how that is the most important one. And then each one now, you can see now we've gone up to 2769. We're going in increments of this one of 1540, 1454. Instead of being 1460, 61, we've got 1454 measurements. And now we're moving in the male, we're moving in increments of 1454. And you see it's either +5 or +6 because we're dealing with leap year. It's the leap year principle. So it starts with the +6, then we'll go 1, 2, 3 years of 5. And then in the 4th year, we'll go +6. And then we'll go again 1, 2, 3. In the 4th year, we've got +6. So this is the male Sothis star movements. And this is the female. Now, this column in between is the difference in the years between the male and the female when it occurred. The male happened in 2769 to 2774. It happens within that period, like the Pagume. We've got the 5 year plus, which is called in the celestial, it's called the Quagme. It's not called Pagume, it's called Quagme. This is Ethiopian timekeeping we're dealing with. So this is called a Quagme from here. So there's 7 to 12 years difference between the heliacal rising, which is the given as we know it in Western science, or what they've told us is 2,781, which are the 1461 increments from 1320, 1460, incremental 2781. It's just going up in increments of 1461. Now, if you look at this whole thing, you can see there's 18, right? The reason there's 18 is because there's 18 of them fit into this zodiac. It starts here. We've got one here, and it keeps going right around. These 18 steps are going here. Now, in Western chronology, they're telling us that 3100 BC is the beginning of ancient Kemet. And the 18th dynasty, which comes down, the 18th dynasty is coming down from 1560, roughly 1550 down to 1320, 1290 something, they say. So that's the 18th dynasty, because they're saying the 18th dynasty is 18 kingships or different dynasties coming through. Well, that's wrong, because what they're dealing with is this is the 18. The 18 is the 18 the number of Sothic cycles or Sothis cycles within the 26,000 great year. So so where we see that, when it goes right the way around, now this comes to a crucial part. I'm not being able to explain things very deeply, but I'm hoping that you can just grasp the idea of this is being in increments of 1461 years coming right the way around. Now, when it comes to this thing is getting in my way. When it comes around to there, 24,681. This is in the house of Menat Aquarius. Now we're talking about 24,000 BC, right? 24,681 BC. Now, if we was to measure another 1461 increment from the 24,681, it actually takes us to 26,142. Well, 26,142 has now gone over the 26,000 barrier, because if we can see there, 26,000, if this is 20, see this 101 here, if this is 26,000, 26,142, if we're going to say this is the fulcrum of BC and AD, this would actually be that 26,142 would actually be 142 BC. I hope that's clear. That if we had gone around from the increment in 1461 from 24,681, which would have been the one prior to the 26,000 fulcrum, the 26,000 zero fulcrum. If we was to go around, 26,000 years, it's come back to zero. This is the fulcrum. If it's 26,142, it's gone over the zero. It's gone over. So now we're looking at it. That would be the BC. So we call that a potential Sothic cycle because it's now gone over the 26,000 years. The 26, it's not within that 26,000 parameter. The 26,000 year parameter, it is not within it. It's gone over it by 142 years. So now if we were to now look at it now in a cold light of that day, bringing in the new reckoning, which is age BC and AD, that 142 would be 142 BC. That 26,142 would be 142 BC. Now that is a very crucial bit of information. This here is so crucial. We mustn't forget this, because you'll find that when the Western world is giving us an explanation of the timing of the time of the Maccabees, the time of which is from 200 down to 168 BC, down to the time of the temple in the book of Maccabees, you will see that 142 or 143 is when they say that the teacher of righteousness opened the Qumran community. That is when they date it to 143 BC, when the teacher of righteousness, who could be Jesus Christ, opened the Qumran community on the Dead Sea, where they come the Dead Sea Scrolls. That is where it emanates from. So that they say that is when the foundation was created, and at that time they say there was these Hyrcanus priesthood who were controlling the temple of Israel, supposedly in 142 BC. So this is a very crucial part of history where the Western world are claiming, this is where they're based in order. So they've got the 139 BC, 139 AD fulcrum foundation, cornerstone of their dating, and then so from the 139 they've now got the 142. Well, if you balance over year 0, 139, which is on the AD, and then you've got 142 BC, there's only 3 years difference. So why is there 3 years difference? The reason there's 3 years difference is because in Western astronomy and chronology, from year 0, from 1 BC to 1 AD is, we know, 2 degrees, right? Because we've got 72 degrees, we've got 72 years for each, the measure of 72 years to the movement of 1 degree. So we've now got 2 degrees here. From year 0 to 1 AD and to 1 BC, there are two degrees in between it. So those 2 degrees in between it are 144. 272s is 144. 272.2s is 144.4. So there we get this 144 is where we get the 144,000 of the children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, and the 144,000 are going to be saved. It is to do with this crucial point in time, this 144 years. And also now, if we're going into the times of hours and minutes, if we measure 24 hours times 60, gives us 14,400 minutes. You see, it's a multiple of the 144. It is what they call an order of magnitude. In this science, we're dealing with orders of magnitude or exponential, you know, something which is exponential, like 2 is exponentially 20, is exponentially 200, is exponentially 2,000, is exponentially 200,000, is exponentially 2 million, you know, in this age time, because this is how it works, because it's as above, so below. So if it's on Earth, it could be 2 years, but then going into the celestial realm, we're going into 2,000 years, we're going into 200,000 years, we're going into 2 million years. This because it's exponential. So so that is very crucial. So that 142 BC is so important, because in the Edfu temple in Kemet, I'm just telling you this off the dome. I mean, I can actually show I've got the receipts for this, but I can't actually, you know, I haven't got time to be showing all of this. But they say that it was from 237, the temple of Edfu, in the Roman period of the Ptolemies, they say that that's when it was rebuilt. It was built between 237 BC, 237 BCE, to 142 BC. See, again, it's come back to this 142. This 142 is crucial, you see. But it's not it's a potential Sothic cycle, but because it doesn't reach there, because what has happened in that time, we know that it happened in 139 AD. So, and it's equally balanced, really, over 3 years. Don't forget, we've got the 2 year we've got the 2 years over 101, right? So that's 3 years is now reduced to 1 year. You know, like the 142, we're balancing over year 0. We've got 142 one side, 139 on the other side. 142 BC, 139 AD. We're balanced over year 0. There's only 3 years difference. Now we've got 2 years. We've found just by them not using the 2 years between 101. They use one, they don't count 1 BC, 0, 1 AD. They just go from 1 to 1, from 1 BC to 1 AD. So where that isn't counted, we found 2. So where's the other? We need to find another degree. Where's the other degree? Well, the other degree is it's 72.2. Well, if we put if we multiply 0.2 by 360, it gives us 72. So there we find the other degree, which has been lost. So we've got 3 degrees. So those 3 degrees over year 0 actually are 216 years. 372s are 216. So we've now found we've got a 216 year gap, 216 year margin of error, which is what they use in Western chronology, even in their computer system. I can in Boval, Robert Boval, in his book Imhotep the African, he's using GPS and satellite to measure the Stonehenge of the what do they call it? Nabta Playa is using that to measure the Stonehenge in the Libyan desert, and in there he's using you know, and it's on page 164 of Imhotep the African. You'll see in there that even on using the GPS, they're using a 200-year margin of error. They can't get away from it. They use that 200-year margin of error in all Western dating, because the whole system is built on the precession of the equinoxes. It does not include the forward motion of the solar magnetic solar wheel. Now, the magnetic solar wheel is the power of the Trinity, because it is the wheel split into 3. The wheel split into 3 gives us 120 degrees between each 360. But as each one is a station, when I say it's a station, it is a point to be measured on from, you always add +1. So we've got 121 plus 1. Then we have 121 plus what? Sorry, then 120 plus 1. Then 120 plus 1, which gives us a total of 363. Now that number 363 is a sacred number. It's a sacred number because it tells us in the Origins of the Sphinx. What page is that? Origins of the Sphinx. You'll see the 363. Can't think of what the Origins of the Sphinx. It's quoted in the Origins of the Sphinx. They call that they mention year 363 concerning the Sphinx, the lion. It's his name. He's called Rehakti, and it's an epithet called the year 363. That is in the Origins of the Sphinx, page 180. So, and these books are all written by Robert Bauval and various PhD scholars. Robert Bauval is a archaeoastronomer and he's an engineer, and he's the one who gave the pyramid correlation, the correlation to the stars of the line up of the Orion's belt with the pyramids in Egypt. He's the man who come up with that correlation theory, they call it. And he's an archaeoastronomer. He's very bright, but he's not, and he does all of his work in collaboration with PhD scholars because he doesn't have the credentials himself to get the recognition. So in using his books, this is where I'm getting all of this information from. So before I go on, I just want to come and just show you some little magic in this table here. I'll make it a little bit smaller. In this table, I'll just show you. This thing at the bottom keeps getting in my way. Right. In this table here, if you're looking at it, just generally, like this is, it's like a magic table. This is the Ma'at. This is the balance of Ma'at, right? So if you look on the male side, you see every number. You'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll see every number here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's 5? Every number 5. You see now at 17, you've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You see every number of the of every digit of the numbers on the male side, and there are 3 zeros. You see, look, there's 1 0, there's 1 0 at 8, 5, 90. There's another 0 at 15, 6, 8, 60, and there's another 0 at 23, 130. Now, if you look at the other side, there's only 1 0. This is on the female side. There's only 1 0. All these other numbers are not. There's no consistency. They're all number 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. But here you can see you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you're able to get, in terms of calculation, minute or fine tuning. Where in this you can't get any fine tuning. It's block. It's kind of block measurements. You see, they're all finishing in 1. They're a block measurement, where these are intricate measurements. They're more, because this is the male. This is the working off of the solar power. Working off of the solar power is the generator of all power. So yeah, so that's what. So those 3 zeros represent 3 wombs. That's why you see Christ when he's got 3 Marys at 3 Marys at the crucifixion. There's Mary, the mother of God, Mary, his wife, and another Mary, a sister, who is Martha, I think, right? So the reason is because you've got 3 wombs here. We've only got 1 womb here. If the 0 is a womb, if you can look at the 0 to be in a womb, something that gives birth. You've only got 1 because she gives birth to 1 son. We've got 3 sisters here. These are called the 3 sisters. And in and they are in the Big Dipper constellation, what they call Ursa Major, where you've got the pan, you've got the shape of the pan, which would be if you was to put water in a pan, you've got the shape of the pan, and then coming down, you've got the handle. Those three sisters, or those three stars coming down in the handle, are called the three sisters, and they're called the Bir, B-I-E-R, Bir. And then you've got the Lord of the Bir. Well, in Ethiopian language, the Lord is Exio, Lord, Exio. So we've got Exia Bir. You see, we've got Exia Bir, the father of the three mothers. You see, so we see this is where it's coming in. So you can find in the Ethiopian language, you're finding the star language in even Ethiopian praise, Exio Bir, Exabir, the name of God in the Ethiopian language, Exabir. So I'll just leave it there. But also what I want to say as well, if you look at now in the middle now, this one of the years, the differences in years, you'll see like it works in like 7 to 12 years, but you'll see 12, 13, 18, 19. You see this diagonal, you see the diagonal movements here, 36, 37, 48, 48, right? Now that's in 8 and 9. You see they're the same number. And then again in the 12 and 13, they're the same number, 72 and 72. 72 is the 1 degree. You know, that's very important because that 1 degree represents the Messiah. That is the essence of finding who the Messiah is, this 72, this 1 degree. He's this 1 degree. So how does that relate to his majesty? Well, how it relates to his majesty is there is where we've got the 142 BC, and then we've got the 139 AD. Well, there must have been a reverse, mustn't there? If the clock has now got to go in reverse, because it has reversed the polarity of the clock. From 142 BC, it couldn't work. It's out of the parameter. So the clock has had to have stopped and gone back the other way to give you the 139 AD. Well, for that 139 AD to be measured there, that is His Majesty's birthday. It happened between the 20th and the 25th of July on 139 AD. And every 1460 years, 1461 years, His Majesty's birthday will come back to be the beginning of that Sotic cycle. Every 1461 years, because don't forget, through precession, there's a drift. It always drifts. It will drift by a day in a couple of years, it will drift by a day and it will drift and it will drift and it will drift. But in 1461 years, it will come back to that place of the beginning, which is His Majesty's birthday, between the 20th and the 25th of July. And that is the optimum date, the 25th of July. And what happens when that happens on the 20th to 25th of July, when that Sirius heliacal rising happens, the River Nile floods. The banks of the River Nile flood. When they see that occurrence, that astronomical occurrence on the 20th to 25th of July, every 1460 years, when that happens, that is when the River Nile floods. It floods every year, but don't forget it moves with the precession of time. But when it comes back to occur on that date is His Majesty's Erstrom, because His Majesty is Almighty God. He's the one related to this star. Now in the Bible, it tells us that is Him, because it tells us in Numbers 24:7. It says in Numbers 24:7, it says, He shall pour the water out of His buckets, and His seed shall be in many waters. Well, pouring His water out of the buckets is the symbol of Aquarius. If you see in the symbol of Aquarius in the zodiac signs, you'll see it's a man pouring with 2 pitchers in his hands, pouring water out of his buckets, or pour them out of his pitchers. So that is the image there. And then also in the last verse of 24:17, it says, a star shall rise out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel. You know, the scepter and so we've got the star. So they're prophesying this man in Numbers 24:7 and Numbers 17. That's telling you that it's Majesty that they're dealing with, because it's in the age of Aquarius. So the age of Aquarius is now. When did it begin? Now, according to this, now in the science of this zodiac wheel, right? You say, well, it's got here 1877. Now, this is 1877. When it begins, this is the cusp of Pisces to Aquarius. Now, you might say, well, hang on a minute. How can it happen in 1877? We haven't got there yet. Well, the reason is because that is when the transition begins. The transition takes 430 years. The reason it takes 430 years is because it's written in Ezekiel, chapter 5. Chapter 4, verse 5, it says that 390 years for the iniquity of Israel, 1 year for every, he lays on his side for 1 year for 39 days or 390 days for the iniquity of Israel. And 1 day is a year. And then also he does it for another 40 years for the iniquity of Judah. So now we have 430 years. So the 430 years from 289 BC, because we're following here now, we're following here 289 BC. How do we get 289 BC for this thing? How we get it is going back to the Ethiopian king list. The Ethiopian king list gives us the age of Amen beginning at 2455. You see, I have it here, right? You see 2455, beginning of the age of Amen, according to the Ethiopian king's list, right? So if we measure 2166 from 2455, we get 289 BC. So then from 289 BC to 139 is 430 years. It's the same, it's the 430 years. That's how long it takes to transition from one age to another. This is what it is. This is what it is all about. This 430 years is crucial, and you will read also in Galatians chapter 3, verse 10. You will talk about Abraham. It will say about Abraham measuring the 430 years, and then in the next program, and then in the next chapter, he's saying to the people he's worried about them, how they're measuring times and seasons and moon and stars, you know, like the things which create things, and they're saying, he's saying, you're not following me. I'm telling you about faith, and you're and we're dealing with the law, and the law was a promise was given to Abraham, but you're talking about this science. They're talking about the science. There's obviously a polemic going on over the science, what we're talking about, this 430 years, because if Jesus Christ was born 289 BC, he can't be right. If he was born, if there was a potential heliacal rising of Sirius, which is related to the Christ, as it is, as I've mentioned about it, it's linked with his majesty, it had to be linked with Jesus Christ. He doesn't fit in the program. At 139 AD, 142 BC, Jesus Christ, if he's the teacher of righteousness, right? Don't forget that we've got the teacher of righteousness going to the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran, 142 BC. He's out of place because that's not on a cusp of an age. The Messiah is supposed to be born on the cusp of an age. Well, Majesty is born in 1884 EC. Of the Ethiopian calendar. Look, we've got 1877 here. His Majesty is born within 7 years of this cusp, right? Jesus Christ is either born 289 years prior, or if he was born on 142, he's still 289, take away 142, he's 147 years out, right? So it can't be. So who is Jesus Christ? He was a priest. He's a Messiah. He's a priest, Messiah. He's not a king. They've jumped the gun. They've made the thing. They've put Jesus prematurely in the position because it doesn't happen, because they've put him up. This is where he is, year zero, which is 147 years from 289 years on the cusp. They've put Jesus Christ here, but he wasn't born on the cusp. But where was he born? Because what is this? This is the birthday of the world. You see, when it goes round the 26,000 years, he's actually born on the birthday of the world, or He's either born or crucified on the birthday of the world. And I think he was crucified on 2. Personally, I think he was crucified on 2 BC. I've identified him, you know, from the Jewish literature. I've identified who he is with, I can't go into it too deep, but, you know, for time. But anyway, that is who he is. But what I wanted to show also, I hope that I'm giving you enough clarity, you know, because I'm speaking very fast and I'm not explaining things too deeply. I'm talking like
you could give us a little more of that 2 BC thing that you didn't want to go into.
What would you want?
No, what you just mentioned about you can identify the Jesus Christ who was crucified 2 BC. I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let me try and get through this, and then I'll come back to that if we've got time.
No problem. Do your thing.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. You know, I'll definitely do that. Oh, what's happened here? This has got too big. Right. Yeah. But what I wanted to show you actually was just how the Ethiopian kings are these Christs, and they've known it all along, right? And this thing keeps getting in my way. You know, this bar at the bottom, it keeps getting in my way. Yeah. So anyway, what I was showing you is how this differences in the years work. You know, it goes from 1, it goes diagonally across. You know. Where the years come, you know, they come across in a diagonal thing. Well, it works exactly the way as the king list works. I'll just show you that the king list works in exactly the same fashion, because this is the science of the king list. The king list is an astronomical instrument. So I'll just show you that quickly. That the Ethiopian king list works in exactly the same manner as which I've just demonstrated how that table works. Oh, get this out of the way. This thing is in my way, man.
Yes, family, of course, you know, Rasta round table. Give thanks. We're just coming in, brother Seifa Sellassie, giving us a very mathematical, astronomical, pardon me, intriguing presentation here.
Right.
It's a presentation.
Sorry, Bridget. Look, now this is the king list. This is the king list. If we go back here, look, this has just worked perfect. Queen Helena. Now this is over the 1320 BC. Look, she actually was on the throne for 11 years. So she came off of the throne at 1347. She was on for 11 years. Look, and it goes diagonally across. There is her coming to the throne, 1358. It's working in the same way as that table that I was showing the item. You see, the table worked as they come on the throne. Like here we got Zagdur. He was on the throne for 40 years. So here he is, 40 years. Go diagonally across, you've got the 40 years, 1347 BC. You know, it's previous. This is when they leave the throne. This is the regnal. They call this regnal reckoning, when they leave the throne. Okay, so that is, I'm just showing you that just to show you the correlation between that, the two, the male Sirius table and the female. You know, it works in exactly the same manner. This king list is working in exactly the same manner as that scientifically. Okay, so yeah, that's as much as I want to get there. Right. I'm going to try and get back to that now. I'll go back to that area.
And just to let the family know that you know, we had a little tardy start, and we have to seal up this one very soon. But of course, that's not any problem here. I think the presentation deserves a sit down and, you know, go over this again properly.
Yeah, but
I'm telling you.
I'm just trying to give you I'm trying to give you a fast gist. You know, I'm trying to give you a fast synopsis of the occurrences. You know,
beautiful. The synopsis, the summary.
Yes.
Right, go ahead.
So what I really wanted to show, the point that I've really tried to bring here is the relevance of His Majesty. Now I've got to now go into the Shabaka stone. I'm going to go into this quickly because I want the item to understand. Now this is 12 divisions of 30 degrees. The 360 degrees is 12 divisions of the zodiac clock. Right now, what I want to go into now, we're going to go into the Shabaka stone because the Shabaka stone is 11. Right, let's just pray.
Yeah, we see now what you're doing there.
Good, that's good. That's good.
That's what you want our presentation.
Yeah, no, oh yeah, presentation. Yeah, that's what I want. Right, okay. Right, let's hope you see the Shabaka stone.
Yeah, that's it. I think you should make it big. Pick it up on
there. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm just showing you, like, I'm just seeing. Right, we've got the Shabaka stone, okay?
Too bad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 ribs in there, right? Now we've got 12. We've got 12 ribs in the zodiac. This is 11. So now we're still dealing with the same science of the 26,000 years, right? So 11's into 26,000 gives us 2363. Each month, each one of these months takes 2,363 years. 11's in. Do you want me to show it on a calculator, or can we just talk out of the dome?
No, yeah, I believe you have it there. I think
yeah, because it would slow us down though. That's all I'm trying to say, Bridget. Like it's time I'm dealing with here. You know. So this is the Shabaka stone. This is the 11. This is the 11 in. So we've got 25,993. That is the length of it. Now, that's the 11's into the 26,000. So it is 7 years off of the 26,000. The same as His Majesty's birth is 7 years off of the cusp. His Majesty's Earthstrong is 7 years off of the cusp. We've got 7 years off of the 26,000 using the 11. The 11's into 2,000, 26,000, 25,993. Now, there's another thing. The Saqqara complex where they built it, that's built by Imhotep for the King Djoser, 2650 BC. He there, because he now, Imhotep, he so now this is now what I've done to the Shabaka stone. Look, I've measured it, right? Now you see where I've found, even though that just looks like 11 ribs, it looks like 11 ribs. It is actually, this is an eclipse. This is a total eclipse of the sun. Each level of the arm, each side of the arm, right, is got a different measurement because there's a double horizon. You see where they talk about the double horizon and the double sphinx and the double this and the double that and the double lions. It's because there's a double horizon, and this is it here, right? This is copyrighted, by the way. I don't want anybody to be able to think they can nick this. It's got my name on it down there, right? This is copyrighted. This is the duat. This is what all of the Egyptian stuff is all about. This is the temple of Isis. Now, I've read so much stuff on these things. They say, oh, this is something to do. The people who deface this stone use this to make it try and mount the wheel and all kind of rubbish I've heard. But this is actually the temple of Isis here, right? And this is the temple of Isis. And each one of these is like, this is one measurement, and this is the upper. If you're measuring this top line, you measure it from this bottom line here. You see there's 3 lines going through here. There's the central horizon, there's the lower. So this is upper. We've got Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. This one is, the bottom one is to do with Upper Egypt. So the upper The northern hemisphere is measured from this bottom line. The southern hemisphere is measured from the top line. So this is upper, which this is why we say Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. Like we might, it sounds like an anomaly, you know, because it doesn't work as to the north and south. The reason it doesn't is because of this anomaly here. This not an anomaly. This is just a fact of the way that this works. So this is the decipherment of the Shabaka stone. This is just what I brought off of the, you know, I printed it off of the museum picture that we had there, and I've made this out of it, you know, and that now gives us that. Now this, oh no, let's not go to that one. So that gives us the mathematics, the mathematics, right? So that's right. Now this is the mathematics that I've done with it. Now that Shabaka stone has produced this mathematical framework here. How it made the mathematical framework is by right, is by this. This is the mathematical framework. Now, this here, what you see here on the left-hand side, right? And this is the right-hand side. This is the right-hand side of the image that I've just showed you, where I've now measured all of the angles and everything else there. And, you know, like there's two different things going on there. This is an eclipse of the sun, 17,300 BC, right? And this now, what I've got here on this other one, this one on the left, I'll show you, is coming from this it's coming from this. This is the back of the Shabaka stone, right? And see, I've copied it now, and this is all the writing. This is the text telling you about the creation story. This is the oldest story of creation in the world. This is the oldest recorded text of the creation of the world here, right here. And this is the that's the image on the back of that Shabaka stone. You know, this is the back image, right? So what I did then, I just took that back image, right. That's the back image. As you can see, I've drawn it as they've drawn it there, and I've measured it the same way. And I've got all of these, and I've got these measurements and all of these angles. And what it brought, right? What it brought is with the mathematics. What it brought with the mathematics is these numbers, right? Now, you see that I've got the southern wall, like, and now what we're measuring here is the integers. These are the arcs. Now, an integer is the distance between the arc. This is the arc, and then where that dissects on the circle, where if you put a straight line across it, I'll show you what I mean. These are the values that I've got. So I've got 5,600. I've got 6,960. And then I doubled that. That gives us 2,720. Well, I can show you that in there's the president of the Astronomical Society of Russia. He came up with these figures, and he said that it's something to do with 5,600 BC and 2,700 BC. He said that he said that somehow in the Sphinx there's an origin. The origin of the calendar is something to do with these numbers. He didn't know what it was, but he come up with those figures. His name was Gerstein, and he's in the what book is he in? Gerstein. Gerstein is in the black. I've got him written down here. But anyway, he's a major brain box. You know, he's come up with these numbers, but he doesn't know what they are. But what they are, what I've done, we're multiplying these integers together. Let me show you what an integer is. Let me show you what an integer is. An integer is the distance. You see there, you can see that I've got 51 there. Right, that distance of 51 across that arc. You see that arc there? That arc will give us a value. This here is an integer, and you know, and this is the arc here. So we've got the integer of this arc and the integer of this arc, right, which gives us an integer. It means to be drawn out from under. It means to be drawn out from under. And if we read Abuna Yeshak, the name of the Ethiopian Tewahedo Church in his book, it is called the Integrally African Church. Integrally means more than one integer, right? Having more than one integer. We're dealing with the Ark of the Covenant, right? This is the Ark of the Covenant, my people. I'm telling you, this is the Ark of the. You see that triangle there, right? We're dealing with the Ark of the Covenant. This is the truth of the Ark of the Covenant. Look, it is the Ark of the Covenant. Look here, this is the fallen obelisk in Aksum, Ethiopia, right? Here's the Ark of the Covenant, right? You see it there? You see that's a ship. Look, they're saying that is the shape of a ship. And there is you see the Ark and you see that triangle on there, right? This is the Ark of the Covenant. This is the representation of the Ark of the Covenant, right? In Ethiopia, in Aksum. So, you know, don't worry about what's in the Bible. This is the living testimony, right, of the Ark of the Covenant. So how does that fit in? How does that fit into well, these are the measurements that I have, right? These are the measurements that I have. And you know, and these measurements, you see that 70 there? You see there's 70 there, and there's 72.5 there, and there's 100 across there, right? This is the Ark of the Covenant. This measurement here is that what you saw on that obelisk. This is it. This is the measurement, right? How does that fit with His Majesty? What has that got to do with His Majesty? Let me show you. This is, you know, and I'm going to finish it here because this is what I really want to get to the item to know, right? This is how His Majesty deal with this. Right, so that's the Ark of the Covenant. That's that measure. How we got that measure is, let's go back to the mathematics. Right, is that so? You see the 72. I just showed you that Ark of the Covenant. I said it was 70 degrees and 72 degrees, 72.5 degrees. The length of the integer was 70 and 72. Right, so we've got the same numbers there, and we've got the length was 80. You see that I put the 80 as the line, that was the distance of the line, and then I've got 96, that was the distance of the other line. I've multiplied those together. That gives me this mathematics. When I multiply them together, it gives me 38,976,000 divided by 1,000, because 1,000, as it tells us, one day of the Lord is 1,000 years. It's a formula. In the Bible, it's a formula. Okay, so when we just multiply that so we divide that by 1,000, it gives us 38,976. That is the length, that is the distance of the time and a half, right? The time, what I'd explain to you how the zodiac works. We go around from 0 to 0, but then to go up to the top again, we must go to a time and a half. So this is the measurement of a time and a half, 38,976. If we then divide that by 3. We divide that 38,976 by 3 because we're dealing with the power of the Trinity. We're dealing with Kadamari Haile Sellassie, the power of the Trinity. We then get 12,000 each one. If we don't divide it by 3, it gives us 12,992. If we divide that by 12,000, if we multiply that by 2, it gives us 25,984, right? 25,984 divided by 360, which is the circle, gives us a 19.1 length cycle. That is the 19,000 years. That is the 19 years of the lunar cycle. You know, the lunar cycle has a 19 year cycle when it comes back to begin to repeat again, like the Stoic cycle takes 1,461 years to repeat. This takes 19 years, but also it is in magnitude, it's 19,000 years, right? Because I've got such a history to tell you about this, but I can't deal with it right now. This 19,000 years, it's to do with the Battle of Adward. It couldn't have been prevented. To do with this science.
Well, we are
like Babylon have it. They know this stuff. All right, beloved. Well, listen. The last thing I'm going to say is
exact moment.
We're on 35 minutes. Okay, well, you can see where I've got these numbers from, right? This is on all of these numbers. It's all verifiable with all these great scientists and all these things. These numbers add up, my brethren. They're either right or they're wrong, and these are right. I've got this Orion cycle. I've got every cycle. I can go into it much deeper, but just for a matter of time, I'm going to leave. But let me just give you the beauty of His Majesty. When His Majesty made the church, 2,363 years divided by 3 gives us 787. The 11, the 2,363 was the 26 years divided by 26,000 years divided by 11. 2,363. 2,363 divided by divided by 3, the power of the Trinity again, gives us 787. It is an astronomical, mathematical Ethiopian measure, right? That measure, 787, if we now measure from His Majesty's, if we measure from His Majesty when he made the church autocephalous in 1950, and it was actually finalized in 1959. He made the last signing in 1959, but it actually happened in 1950 in Ethiopia. He made the church autocephalous. When he did that, if you measure 787 years from then, from 1959, which is when His Majesty signed the last declaration in Egypt with the church in Egypt, with the Abuna in Egypt, 1959. If we measure 787 years from 1959, it takes you back to 1172, 1 year after Lalibela left the throne. Right? His Majesty tied it straight to Lalibela.
What are we going to do about this one? Sorry to jump in front of you. Sorry to jump in front of you. So asking the rest of the family, how we going to handle this one here? I mean, this was a lot. And you don't know, as we explained before, we really have a time that we have to seal. How are we going to handle this? I know we give the king at a certain time, but we took more of the time because of the interest. And I don't think we can even start to comment on this at the moment. So how are we going to handle this? When we come again, we review this. When I say review it now, we start to comment on it because we'll be able to watch it again and again so we can analyze it properly, because I don't think even sitting here we get everything. So in the interest of the time, and I know that we understand how we started and everything, and we do have to seal up. It's gonna be very hard for us to even start to talk about this here. You understand, Brother Seifa? Sellassie, even there, I didn't want to even stop you there, but I know
yes,
more than anyone should come.
Yes, beloved, I understand. But I hope I've given it,
but hold on, as I said, the time stop for me very, very important. So family, I want us to understand that we're going to seal this up, We'll come again and seal this up properly. You don't have to be exactly next week, but we're going to come again and seal this up right behind this. So this, what we just do, got no way to waste. But when we come again, we just start from right here. It's going to be well put together, that as, like one thing then. Let me just put it that way. So everyone going to get a chance to look at it, to take it in, and even go and do your own research and come back so we can deal with everything the brother said properly. So you're going to really have to forgive me for this one. We have to seal up this one here on a hard stop. But I think it's good, man. We can just observe what the king said down tonight. And when we come again, I will let everybody know when. Much sooner than later. We just, while the fire hot, we just continue this discussion and everything will be well put together so that the wider family can take it in properly. I hope everyone understand that. Yes, but in the interest of time, family, pardon me. King Seifa Sellassie, I think you have to give me back the hosting thing in here. I'm not too sure.
Okay, Bridget.
Okay. I think so.
How do I do that?
Yeah,
Stop share.
Yeah, just give me back the. No, you were supposed to give me back the hosting.
Oh,
Yeah, make me.
how do I do that, Bridget?
Oh, you know, give me back the. Okay, don't worry, I have it covered. I have it covered. And Ras,
You
I
got
don't
it?
did also join us, but my lord, just forgive me for that. As I said, we're going to have to seal up for this evening. All right, I don't see exactly how you give it back to me, but
Um,
it's all right. When we seal up, it's okay, no problem. Oh, okay, I think I have it. It's all right. All right, family, give thanks again. Yeah, I have it. I have it. I have
oh
it.
yeah, you got it. You have it back. Yes.
And pardon me for the quick stop there,
Yes, you
but we
have
all
it back.
overstand. But we're coming again right now, and we will continue this discussion. It was well presented. I think it was heavy food for thought, and we got our sup on it, and we gonna come again. But pardon me again, family, you don't know our next train to catch. Blessed love, eh? Rastafari.